put on this computer. We are recording, and hold on, I will share my screen now. And here it is, the bid strip pictures. And I'll put a little I'll type any text where it's new words, but you've got this picture today.
Yes, okay. So I see yes, mother and father and the toddler. So they work in the garden, I think, and
They are working, probably
they are working in the garden, and the toddler helps his parents. And I see with how do I say it? Oh, when you
tools here.
They do the leaves away from the tree or something else. I don't know exactly what's in it.
We use the same word for the tool as for the verb, and so it's a rake or to rake the leaves.
Ah, yes.
So that tool is called a rake that the mother is holding. She's holding.
Okay.
I've got some in my garden as well.
So they are raking the leaves.
Good.
And
well, Mum is raking the leaves. What is Dad doing?
He does. Oh wait, he has. I know the word, but I don't know exactly the word for it.
Maybe you know the verb. What's he doing? He is. Small word beginning with D. Small word. What's he doing?
Digging.
Digging. Yeah, he is digging in the garden. Yeah, he is digging. I'm not sure why he's digging, but he's digging. And does anybody know what it's called? What he uses?
Yeah.
So what's he using? What's he holding? The man? Is with an S?
Soil.
He's digging the soil. The soil is on the ground. He's digging the soil. But what's he holding?
A shovel.
A shovel or a spade. Excellent. Both of those are the same. They're synonyms. A shovel, a spade. So he's digging with his shovel.
So he is digging with his shovel, and on the second picture I see he has finished with digging, and the mother is planting fruits or something else, or clouds.
Yeah, I think they are
flowers.
Yeah, she's planting flowers. Very good.
She's planting flowers, and the toddler helps mom. And then on the third picture, the father is smoking a pipe, and the mother is giving the flowers water. Or
you can say giving the flowers water, or you can just say she is watering the flowers. You can use water.
She is watering the flowers, and the toddler is also watering the flowers.
Good.
Then on the fourth picture, I see the mother is doing something with the flowers, but I don't know exactly what she's doing.
Maybe she is cleaning the area. What do we call them?
Yes.
You know what the little called where they're which we don't like, which I think my bamboo is similar to.
I know the word in Belgium, but I don't know in English how we say it.
I think you might know this word. It begins with a W, and it's for bad, bad plants that you don't want, that seem to grow everywhere. Weeds. Good. Weeds.
Yes, weeds.
So she is maybe
taking the weeds away,
pulling out the weeds.
Yes.
Pull out, because she pulls them out the ground. She's pulling out the weeds.
Pulling out the weeds. The father is holding last week we said what it was.
We did.
Little
boy's got a little one. I'll give you the first clue. The first word is that part of the device. The first word is that part. What's that called? On a car, on a bike?
A wheel.
Good. So it's a wheel, and then
a wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow. Good. Wheelbarrow. Yeah, for that one, he's holding. Dad's wheelbarrow.
He is holding a wheelbarrow, and the toddler is also holding a wheelbarrow. And then on the next picture, I see that the man is holding, yeah, the hark, not the hark, but yeah,
Okay.
the wake,
Yes.
and the toddler is looking at the flowers, and also the parents are looking at the flowers.
Good.
And then the father is give um his lady,
His wife.
his wife, the flower,
Good.
and the toddler looking at the flower also, and then he takes also flowers with him, and then he gives it at his parents, but he has taken
Gives
all the
them.
flowers.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So all the flowers are away, and he is holding it in his hands, and the parents say, "Oh, my flowers."
Yeah, good. He had, I would use pull out here. He has pulled out all the flowers, just like you pull out the weeds, you pull out the flowers as well. Oh, you can say he has picked all the flowers because you pick
Yes.
flowers, you pick mushrooms as well. But he has pulled out all the flowers and he's
He has
giving
pulled out all of the flowers,
them.
and the parents are looking at the toddler for saying, "My
Good.
flowers."
Good.
We have
I think that Dad set the little boy a bad example. Yeah, he gave his wife one of the flowers, and the little
yes,
boy decided, okay, that's a good thing to do. Look how happy Mum was. Look, she was very
yes, she
pleased.
was very happy, but it was one flower. He picked all of the flowers.
Good. Yeah, he decided that. Well, if one is good, all of the flowers
Yes.
must be fantastic. Yeah, and Mum will be really pleased. Okay, excellent. I could also say, you know, they're really satisfied with their work. They're completely
Yes.
satisfied, yeah, with their work, and they're pleased at looking at the results, the fruits of their labor. We had that in another class. I think it was the name of one of the cartoon stories, but they're satisfied with the fruits
Yes.
of their labor, with the flowers that are coming through. The fruits of their labor means the results of their work, yeah, the flowers that have come up. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent, Alicia. And can you tell me what's Dad doing there when he's
He is, yeah, he put his hand on his eyes, but we say it also um
Facepalm.
sorry, Makita? Sorry?
Facepalm.
Face palm, good. That is what it's called nowadays. Yeah, face and palm. And of course, that this is I mean, face, you all know, and palm, maybe you know, palm is here.
yes.
It's an internet meme.
Yes,
internet
exactly. It's internet language, face palm. I agree. But you could use it as a verb nowadays because of the internet. You could say he's face palming, you could say, or something like that. Or we often use
Okay.
it as a noun. It's a face palm when he does that. But of course, he's really disappointed.
expression of disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. His face expresses disappointment, certainly. But yeah, I agree. Face palm is a good word to remember. It's very modern. But you know face, you know palm, and so why not? Okay,
Sorry, David. Can I ask a question related to this? How to use this verb in the past tense, for example? EAD is added after face or after palm?
after face palm, as it would be used as one word if it were used as a verb. But I want to warn you that it wouldn't be correct in any academic setting to use face palm as a verb. It's a modern conversational English. It's only come in because of the internet, and so it's a little bit like using like, or you know, he liked, you know, meaning clicked on like. There are a number of different internet words which have come in that I wouldn't really consider academic English, and facepalm is certainly one of them. You know, it's the name for one of the emoticons, really. One of the emoticons is called facepalm, and it's the one where you can see the guy's hand covering his eyes. And it's just because so many times you see people do that when, you know, when they think somebody has done something stupid.
So it's best when describing an image like this, it's best not to use this verb, for example, in the past simple.
he face palmed. I wouldn't. You don't usually hear people using it as a verb, to be honest. Usually, it's a noun. It's an emoticon. It's very rare you see people using it as a verb, but I'm sure that some do. I'm sure that some do because it's very common internet vocabulary nowadays.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, because otherwise I am going to use it like a verb.
Yeah, I wouldn't if I were you. I mean, if you say he face palmed, I would just say, yeah, he covered his or he put his palm on his head. You know, you could do it like that, but yeah, I wouldn't say he face palmed, not personally, but I can imagine somebody doing it still, and I would understand them easily. Wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so very good. That was excellent, Alicia. We're going to just do one today because I've got so much
Yes.
bamboo to dig up.
Okay.
They're going to take a lot of my time, but that was brilliant. Let's go
Okay,
on.
thank you.
I saw Mikita next, so we'll do Mikita and then Luisa. But Mikita, can you hear us?
Hello, Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hello, how you doing? You good? Mikita in Finland?
Yeah. I'm in Finland. I'm still in Finland.
Good.
Yes, I'm okay. The weather is excellent. The sun is shining. The birds are singing.
Good. What's it
so,
like? How many degrees is it in Finland?
Well, I cannot tell you for sure at the moment, but it's not a very hot country.
I think England probably today. I mean, just today.
It's about maybe up to 20 degrees.
I think it's probably about 18 here. I reckon 18, 19. We have a
yeah.
I got the impression, you know, it was the same in Moscow, that Moscow had much warmer summers, but much colder winters. And in England, we just have no change. There's not much difference between winter and summer in terms of degrees. Rain and things like that, you get more.
I think Finland's and Great Britain's weather have many very much in common.
Has a lot in common, yeah.
A lot of in common, yes. The summers are cold in Finland, relatively cold in Finland.
Yeah,
and they start usually later, much later than, for example, in Ukraine. It's much warmer and hotter in Ukraine these days, and for example, a couple of days ago, it was very windy and cold outside, and really you can see a lot of people wearing warmer clothes now.
Yeah, that's in Finland you're talking about.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Even though, yes, it's summer already, but
I've got to ask you as well, what's summer like in Mariupol? I know you're on the coast. I know Mariupol's on the beach. Yeah, is it really?
Yeah. It's Mariupol stands on the banks, or on the bank of the Sea of Azov, or Azov Sea.
I would only say the river. I wouldn't say it for sea. On the coast, on the coast, correct. Well, usually the summers in Mariupol were, and I believe they still do. They still are. They still are. Are hot, and I can remember the temperature was peaked maybe at 40 even degrees Celsius. Unheard of in the UK. 40 degrees is unheard of. Even 35 is unheard of. That's wonderful. That's really hot summer.
I can say it was every single day in summer. But well, yeah, you could experience such hot temperatures, or temperature living in Mariupol. But yeah, I can compare the summer in Finland and in Mariupol, in the southeastern part of Ukraine, and yeah, it's much much hotter hotter to live in this part of Ukraine than for example, for me as a southerner or a person who comes from the southern part.
Southerner, yeah, as a southerner, you can say that as a southerner. I'm a
As a southerner, yes, Finland is quite a cold country.
yes,
Quite a cold country.
Did you used to swim in the Azov Sea? Was it a nice place to swim, the beach?
Yeah. I did. I would, or I used to
I
go.
would, or I used to. Good.
I used to go to the beach. With my parents or with my grandmother when I was like maybe 10 years old. Yes. They often took me. They would take me, or they used to take me.
Yeah, all correct. All correct. Certainly, they would take me to the beach. They used to take me to the beach. My parents used to take me to the beach every weekend as well in the summer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to tell us
So,
today? Are you going
to? Last time I didn't finish my retelling. It was the short story again written by Ernest Hemingway. Up in a short story, yes, because I mentioned it for the first time, so it has to be a. Yeah, it has to be a.
And partly because you know that you're not sure that everybody around you knows which short story, and I think you're probably not sure about everybody here that they know which one you mean. So yeah, you're introducing it to them, and when you introduce something to a person, it's got to be a.
And Dave, I'd like to ask some questions. A question. It's unrelated to really to this short story Hemingway, and it's about learning a language, a foreign language in general. What is in your opinion? Maybe there are some explanations, scientific explanations out there, or there are exist. I mean, what is the concept of fluency? Is it about what means to be fluent? Is it about being grammatically correct and speaking fast at the speed of native speakers? So being able to react to their well, questions. For example, if I'm asked a question, I can respond without thinking, or is it simply about being able to communicate on your at your personal pace of speaking, or is it maybe what is it exactly? Because sometimes I think I can speak more or less fluently, but when I come across a person who speaks very fast and uses maybe more advanced vocabulary, and his or her pronunciation is more clearer than mine, and I start thinking that clearer than mine. I start thinking that, well, yes, I'm not such a fluent speaker, and
I mean, to me, your question is, sorry to butt in, but to me, your question is very similar to what is upper intermediate level or what is intermediate level. And of course, it's something different for everybody. Everybody has a very subjective opinion of what pre-intermediate is, or beginner, or super advanced, or fluent. Now, personally, I used to always think that anything at B2 level and anything higher is fluent. Personally, I always felt like B2 level was fluent because that person could already understand 95% of what a native speaker says, and they'd be able to respond immediately without any kind of preparation. And yeah, they could respond with nice, clear sentences, and I'd have no problem understanding them. But it's going to be different in everybody's head. And don't worry so much. I mean, be impressed, of course, when somebody says something and you think, oh, that was very clear. That was perhaps clearer than when I speak. Or I mean, be impressed and try to mimic their pronunciation. But I wouldn't let it, pull you down. Don't take I think too many people worry too much about, for example, pronunciation. Personally, I also speak a foreign language, and I know that I know I speak with an English accent. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. But I try not to beat myself up too much about it, because I know that so many of my students speak with an accent, and I understand them perfectly well. And sometimes they're using really, really good vocabulary and grammar as well. And okay, they've got an accent, but I mean, they still, remember that every native speaker has an accent. There's no such thing as a person without an accent. Everybody has an accent. And so the idea that having an accent is bad, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Everybody has an accent. It doesn't matter what
I've read that only about maybe 5% of population of the United Kingdom speaks English. I mean, this standard English pronunciation, which is RP, received pronunciation.
I'm surprised you say 5%. I'm amazed it's that much. I would think it's far lower than that.
And these people are members of parliament, royal family members, maybe university professors, or I mean, highly educated people, educated.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't consider members of parliament very intelligent people, and I don't English high level, certainly not. The idea is preposterous. And so, yeah, okay, some of them are quite good at public speaking, one or two, not all of them by any means. I certainly don't consider Rishi Sunak a good public speaker. The idea is absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, one or two of them are fairly good at public speaking. I can think of some of them that aren't bad speakers, and I've even seen some of them speak in public before. But yeah, I don't think of the royal family as intelligent either, if I'm honest. Of course, they've had private education, certainly, but they have a very, very narrow lifestyle. And it means that they don't actually learn a lot about the world and how it works. I don't consider them personally someone to aspire to, especially politicians and especially the royal family. I'm not a big fan of any politicians on any political parties. I think that they have an agenda. But yeah, one or two of them are pretty good at speaking in public, but it's a minority. It's not a majority. They should spend more time studying English, studying grammar. And I actually knew someone who worked in local politics, and he still makes fun of me for being a fan of grammar. And I've told him many, many times that if he took an interest, he wouldn't make so many mistakes, and it would be better for him in his political career. But he's not interested. And I think that is typical politician, totally uninterested in how to use language, but it's part of their job to use language and to persuade and convince. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, fluency is something which comes from, well, past the level of B2, basically. I do consider people fluent. That's what the word means for me. But I do understand that everybody has a different opinion of what's upper intermediate, pre-intermediate, advanced. It does change from person to person.
There are certainly situations when even a native speaker can't respond immediately to a question, because simply we all need some time to think, sometimes at least.
Of course, yeah. And remember that when I speak to an Irish person, very often I don't understand a word they're saying, and they don't understand some of my stuff either, because they're not used to my accent and I'm not used to their accent. I had an Irish girlfriend when I was about 19 or 20 at university, and I met her parents, and her dad was a lovely guy, really nice guy, but I couldn't understand him, and I was so embarrassed. He came down in the morning, not used to, but he came down a couple of times in the morning, and he said to me, "Do you want a sure, Dave?" And I had no idea what he meant. "Do you want a sure? Do you want a sure?" And he kept saying, "Sure, sure," like I know what sure means. And he was saying shower. But in my area, we say shower, and there they say sure. In my area, we say mirror, and they say mirror. Yeah, they don't make two syllables. And so do understand that there are so many accents in English. You know, look at America, they have loads of accents. Look at Australia, look at Canada, so many different accents with English. Yeah, very often native speakers don't understand each other. Okay.
That's
I'm gonna have to move on now.
that's a big surprise, really. That's a big surprise to me.
Certainly
Even though I've heard that, yeah, some even within London, within London, there
definitely, definitely.
there are accents like, I don't know, Cockney, maybe Cockney or East End.
Yeah, Cockney. I mean, I grew up with Cockney accents all around me, so I can certainly understand Cockney. That's not a hard one for me. But you get a lot of different accents in London. It's true, because we're a very multicultural country now, and so you get all sorts of accents in London, especially London. It's very rare that you hear English language in London. You usually hear foreign languages in London. I hear a lot of Russian nowadays in London, but many other languages as well. And so it's not a place I would recommend for learning English, because there's very little English there. But I'm sorry, we're going to have to move on now onto Louisa, and we're just going to keep going so that everyone gets a chance today. So Louisa, so sorry, Makito, I'll see you next.
No. Thank you for answering my questions, Dave. And well, yeah, I'll tell. I will continue with my short story or retelling of a short story next time.
I will say one more thing, which is, you know, when I went to Moscow, I was amazed that Moscow accent and Vladivostok accent are the same. That amazed me. I couldn't believe it. I've met people from Vladivostok and they speak exactly the same as people from Moscow. I would never say that about Ireland, which is pretty close compared to Moscow, Vladivostok. It's pretty close to London. It's not that far. But the difference between an Irish speaker and an English speaker is massive. It's almost dialect.
And there is a part of Ireland which is the northern
that's
Ireland.
Where I went. Yeah, that's where I went.
Yeah,
the part which is Britain.
it still remains in the Union. I mean, in the
yeah, but they still have a very strong accent. It's still in the United Kingdom, but that doesn't mean they speak like Londoners. They don't. You know, it's such a strong accent that I find it hard to understand too. And the same for the Scottish. Exactly the same. I find them very hard to.
But these peoples or these nations have their I don't know, local culture and language. I mean, Irish.
The Irish do. They do.
Gaelic. Is it Gaelic? Is it called
Gaelic? And yes, some of them know Gaelic. Some of them, but I don't know if all of them do. I would say that Welsh is more widely spoken in Wales than Gaelic in Ireland, although I don't know. You'd have to ask an Irish person. I really don't know. But Scotland definitely don't speak Scottish. They speak English. I've never heard of a Scots, but I mean, it's almost like a language of its own because of the accent, because it's almost like its own dialect. They sometimes call it Scots, but for me, yeah, it's still English, but just with a very different accent. They don't have their own language that they have in the schools or anything like that in Scotland. In Wales, they do. In Ireland, they do. But yeah, it's a little bit different in Scotland. Okay, Louisa.
Okay, clear.
Would you like to do a story or do the pictures? What would you like to do?
Well, I'd like to add something about English levels, about fluency, I mean. Because my opinion is that when it comes to fluency, I think even though you are a B1, even a lower level English learner, I mean, as long as you are confident, as long as you are ready to speak, to take the initiative to speak, to communicate something, I can define this behavior a kind of fluency to some extent. What do you mean? What do you think about that?
I totally agree. Absolutely. You know, I just noticed I was often working with FCE classes, which was B2 when I was abroad. And for me, every single FCE class, and they were working from B1 to B2, they were all fluent. There's no doubt in my mind that I would consider.
I can share my little experience when I came to Finland. It was a big stress for me to speak English. I don't speak Finnish. I attend Finnish classes 2 days a week, but I'm still at the beginner level. So the only language, the only way of communicating with people here for me is to speak English, and really it was hard. Well, I've never really had an opportunity to practice my English before I came to.
I never really had then. I never really had to.
Never really had an opportunity to practice my English with anybody before. Yeah, I came to Finland, and yes, well, for the when I came, I came here nearly 2 years ago. Well. It was in October 2022, to be precise, to be exact. So I forced myself to. I had to push myself to force myself to speak every time I had to go to I don't know to any kind of organization or institution. So people there speak English. Well, their levels of English vary. Some
varies. Their level of English
very. Yeah, some of them speak speak well. Some of them do not speak well, but generally they can help you. They can help you if you ask them to and yeah, and I found that every time I force myself to speak, and well, my vocabulary is more or less developed, so I can more or less express myself. But speaking for me is still remains stressful. It's still stressful. I don't know why it happens.
What advice, Louisa? What advice would you give Mikita to practice for speaking practice?
Yeah, I think it depends on how much you practice every day. For example, if you join only once a week this class, for example, I think it's not enough. You have to find out a speaking partner to practice with every day. Even though you can join only for 50 minutes per day, for example, it's enough for you, because the more you practice, the better you become. This is just what I'm doing, what I've been doing.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. Yes, I know.
Yeah, but it's a long run. It's a long haul indeed, because it's practice makes perfect, but it takes longer. It takes really
30
long.
years of practice makes perfect. Yeah, but 30, 40 years maybe. It really is like that. I totally agree. I'm lucky. I decided to marry someone of the second language that I'm practicing, and that made it much easier. It really did.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't even practice with her. Shame on me, but I've already got used to just always speaking in English and she replies in Russian. And that's the way we just got used to doing things. But I do have a weekly class where it's only me speaking, or mostly me speaking. And that really helps me. And it's practice. You have to move your tongue. If your tongue's not moving, you're not learning. And I would even say that speaking is the most essential of all 4 skills of reading, writing, listening. Speaking is number 1. It's why everybody wants conversational classes when they want private classes, because they feel that if they can keep practicing the speaking, the other ones are easier. Listening is easier than speaking. Writing is easier. Reading is easier. Speaking is by far the hardest. And of course, if you do it all the time, that's how you get really good much faster in a foreign language, by practicing speaking, number 1. Don't do what I did when I was abroad. I had a book where I wrote down all the new words. And I thought, now in retrospect, I understand that's the worst tactic. You can have a book where you have the phrases or the sentences, yes, but single words are rubbish. You need to learn things in context, and you need to learn collocations and things like that. In other words, combinations. Never learn single words on their own, because they only mean things in a web of other words. And that's why if you do have a book which you write down new words in, don't write down single words. I did it because that's what we did at school, but English people don't know how to learn a foreign language. And so because we so rarely do. And so we all had vocabulary books for French or German or whichever foreign language you were doing, and you wrote your new words in there. But that's the worst way. Any other tips you can give, Louisa? Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking an example for when it comes to driving, for example, even if you study only the theory without driving, you can know everything about engine, but you are not able to drive because you have to practice. The same thing goes for learning a language. Because it depends on how on your practice. And I liked your piece of advice related to marry someone speaking English, or if you are already married, maybe to get to know someone who you can share your flat, for example, hosting someone.
Yeah, it could be just a friend, definitely.
Exactly, a kind of exchange, where there's a win-win. You can give them something, in return you get something from them. So in a nutshell, I would say that the practice is the best thing to do.
Good.
And I totally agree with you that it's when we write down all the new things that we learn, as I always do, because I try to review them, but as you know, we tend to forget that. If for example, if we use them in a conversation, and if we apply the spaced repetition, it can be fruitful for us. But if we don't practice, if we don't use the useful expression that we have learned, if we don't apply the spaced repetition, it's just rubbish.
Exactly. And when you use it in context, because you're putting it in a whole sentence. You're not just using it on its own, like on one of those vocabulary books. You're using it in a sentence, so you're practicing all the other grammar as well at the same time, and making sure you're getting it correct.
Yeah.
I when I was working in schools, I remember that it was very hard to remember all the kids' names. But the very first thing I learned was you got to use their names when you talk to them. And if you do that, if you say, Martin, I want you to answer the next question, then suddenly you know Martin's name. You've looked at him, you've got his face in your mind. And as long as you use their names, you actually can learn about 1,000 names very, very quickly by face. And all of these people you didn't know 3 weeks ago. But I was a supply teacher, and so I often had that means that I was covering for the teachers that were on maternity leave or sick or something like that. And so I had more pupils than most teachers, but I had to learn all their names. Otherwise you had no control over them. In fact, I didn't have much control over them anyway, but it was one tactic that I noticed was always effective.
And it makes it also hard to when you speak foreign language, you have to control your grammar, and you have to think about being correct, and really it slows me down. It slows me down.
The thing is, you shouldn't. I mean, grammar needs to be, even though firstly it should be learned in terms of logic, it needs to be on the tip of your tongue. It needs to be. It needs to be so much in your speech that it's automatic, because of course you haven't got time to think, should I use present perfect here, or there's no time for that. You need to just immediately think, oh, I'm saying for, and so it's have done, or since, so it's have done, or already, just, so it's have done. That needs to just become second nature. And that is the tricky thing. Grammar needs to be automatic, and to get it to that stage, it's practice and it's using it. Speaking in full sentences is another thing. I don't like it when students just say yes or no. I want them always to say a whole sentence. I don't like it when they give me half a conditional. I want the whole conditional, not just the main clause or the sub clause, but the whole conditional. And so always make an effort to do that. Always make an effort to use full sentences when you speak rather than fragments. I think that helps as well.
You know what, Dave, that if I know enough about grammar, how to use some expression, how to make a sentence, and that, I always make mistakes while speaking, and after at times I record myself in order to understand where I have to improve, and I find myself with making some silly mistakes that I ask myself, why you are so silly? You know how to speak, and at times I feel a little bit frustrated about this, because despite all my effort I put in my study, I find myself always, not always, but sometimes, I think it depends also on how energy I have, maybe, or how tired I feel, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. How much energy you have, how tired you feel.
I can confirm that when when I have to take a long walk, and if I meet somebody in the street, and it's a foreigner, he or she speaks English, and I start speaking to this man or a woman, well, yeah, it becomes hard for me to pronounce and control my pronunciation, because, well, yes, my heart is beating. I'm nervous, and yeah, I've just done some physical actions, like walking, and yeah, it really makes it harder to speak. That your physical condition, I mean.
I do recommend what Louisa just said, recording your own voice. That's a really good tactic. In fact, I obviously hear my own voice when I watch my own videos, and that helped me improve my English, definitely. It massively helped me improve my English because I heard my mistakes, and I heard, including the pronunciation. In fact, especially the pronunciation. I could hear that I was doing a w instead of a r sometimes. You know, I could hear all of the imperfections. And so listening to your own voice is a great tactic. I totally agree that that's a really good strategy, not just for learning a foreign language, but for improving your own language. You know, that will show you where you're, well, we're all harsh critics of ourselves, yeah? And you listen to yourself in your native language or in a second language, and you will be a harsh critic. You'll notice that some things are not correct or are badly pronounced or something like that. So I think that's a great idea from Louisa, and yeah,
and for me also works if I make a kind of a script, maybe, of what I want to say, or at least some sentences. I prepare some sentences if I go somewhere, and yes, I can make some, I don't know, some notes or something that I'm going to say to somebody, and sometimes I feel like it can increase my fluency, or at least it can help me to start a conversation, or if it's
what do you think? Is it a good idea to prepare with notes? Louisa, what do you think? Is it a good idea to prepare with notes?
No,
I don't mean that I take notes with me, pieces of papers when I go somewhere. I simply think beforehand what I want to say, and maybe I put.
Get nervous. That's why you get nervous. Yeah, you get nervous because you've planned this conversation out in your head, and then suddenly you've got to be spontaneous. Because the problem with conversation is that it doesn't have any. You've got no time to prepare. You've got to suddenly give an answer, just like now what I'm doing to you. I don't know. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but I have to be ready to speak about this. And okay, I'm speaking in my native language, which is easier. But that is conversation. Conversation is spontaneous 100%, and you do not get time to suddenly check your notes. And of course, I'm not saying you're doing that, But even preparing it on a piece of paper, that's why you're getting nervous, because you expect it to go according to the notes, and it never does. It's conversation. It goes where it wants to go. It's like my bamboo roots, they go everywhere, and conversations go everywhere. And you never know when it's going to come onto a new area, and you won't be able to use the pre-planned discussion to
I understand. I understand.
For
Of
example-
course, there are almost always situations when you really don't. You have to speak just right away.
Spontaneity is in the nature of conversations, definitely. So Louisa, do you want to do a picture, or did you want to retell something, or?
I'd like to describe the picture so that
Excellent.
I can learn. Yeah, I can learn even more.
Excellent.
So I see. I think he's a gardener. He's going to plant something, a little tree.
Good.
And he's got a shovel. He's digging the soil to plant this little tree.
Excellent. Sometimes a little tree is called a sapling.
Some-
If you're interested, but it would be an excellent word to use in an academic exam. Definitely, you'll get extra marks. But it's a little tree, I think.
thank
I'll
you.
quickly check it. Go on, keep going. Sorry.
And after digging the soil, at least he plant inside the soil this sapling.
Good.
And after the work is done, he waters this little tree and enjoys the view of all the surroundings, I guess.
Good.
But it looks like that after the tree disappears because I can't see anymore. He's axing. Can I say axing?
Not acting. There's a ch word, and you know
Chopping.
chopping, exactly. Very
Yeah.
good. Oh, maybe he's not chopping. Maybe he is. I mean, I know what you mean. Maybe he's just. How could we say it?
Cutting.
Shaving. You could even say like shaving off the edge of the wood to make a point, because we do say like
Okay.
shave a piece of wood off, like shave.
Or
And
maybe peeling.
peeling some of the wood off, but peel is usually with your fingers, being honest. Skin peels in the sun, in the hot sun, skin peels. And so we often say I'm peeling when the skin's coming off your shoulders, but you can also peel a banana, peel an orange, of course. But
So in
I
this
wouldn't say
case,
peeling.
the best verb is just to chop. Is
Yeah,
chop.
I mean, yeah, although that is the action of doing that, but if it's
Chopping.
you could say shaving small pieces of wood off, shaving a piece of wood off. Yeah, shave a piece of wood off, something like that.
Of wood off. Wow, difficult to say.
Yeah, okay, it's quite tricky, being honest, that one. It's I think when you get down to the nitty-gritty, to the details, it does start to get
Yeah,
hard.
exactly.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, there are certain other tools like a plane where you shave off a thin layer of the wood.
Right.
I don't know if you know a plane, but again, it's a very strange
Yeah,
word for the.
it's like to I
don't know.
can't remember. It comes in Italian, but not in English.
Yeah, sometimes okay, you remember the Italian word, not the English word. Sometimes it's the opposite. You remember the English word, not the Italian word.
Yeah. Okay. I take notes so later on I can double check. Okay. So okay, now I understand. He's shaving a piece of wood to add it to the sapling so that it can be sprout one day.
Good. Yeah. So to
Sprouting.
support the sapling, to make
support.
sure it doesn't fall over. Yeah, to keep it
Okay.
upright.
Oh, it's not about sprouting, right?
I don't think so. I think it's just support for the sapling. I think it's just to act as support for the sapling, so that in the wind it doesn't bend and fall over.
And after adding this upright, he
Sorry, no, this post. Upright is an adjective, or post or an adverb. You know, he wants to keep the sapling upright. So it's an adverb or an adjective.
He wants keep upright this sapling
Sorry, it's the other way round. He wants to keep the
Ah, okay.
sapling upright. I'm sorry.
Upright. And when he finishes up the work, starts to smoke and enjoy the view, but it looks like that it's raining now, right?
Good. Yeah.
And after raining, he waters again. Oh, so
Good.
strange. How? What's the reason?
Yeah,
To
yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so he waters again after the rain this sapling.
What's he
And
holding? What's he holding?
Rake? No,
Good. Yeah, just
rake.
more
Yeah.
memory. Good.
He's
holding a
holding
rake.
a rake. He's
Good.
holding a rake to clean up a little bit the area around this little tree.
Good.
And after a while, this little tree, foliage, can I use foliage as a verb?
We don't usually use foliage here. Foliage is a noun, and no, it's not usually a verb. But there is a good verb with be. That it's what all the flowers do in spring. They
Sprout. Oh, blow.
bloom or
Bloom.
blossom.
bloom,
Yeah, or
bloom,
blossom. Blossom, if they've got pretty flowers, quite often blossom is more for flowers and colourful things. But yeah, okay, what starts to bloom though? What starts to blossom? They're both verbs, by the way. They're both. I'll put a 2. to
And
make it clear.
it looks like a olive tree.
Okay, is it the sapling or is it the support?
Actually, as I meant before, it's a kind of support for sprouting even other trees, little trees. Not only a support, it can be not only a support, but also an aid to help sprouting even little trees around.
Okay, I understood that the support, the post that he had put in, has started to grow branches and leaves. But he
Yeah,
wants the sapling to get bigger. He wants the sapling to bloom, to blossom, but his support post has blossomed. The other piece of wood has started to grow into a tree. It's like my bamboo again. It's very prolific and it wants to grow. It wants to survive. So it's sprouted already. Okay, fantastic, Louisa.
Thank
Let's,
you.
Let's move on now to Lefteris in Greece. Can you hear us, Lefteris?
Yes, hi Dave.
How are
Hi
you
to
doing?
all.
Hello, hello.
Nice. We have too much hot weather.
Okay, I understand. What's it like in Greece? What's the temperature? How many degrees?
Now it will be around 35 degrees Celsius.
Wow. Too hot for me.
But too hot for anyone, I guess.
Good.
And it's going to get worse the days afterwards. So we have to be prepared. Yeah.
And so what would you like to do today? Would you like to tell us a story? I remember you did Brave New World one time where you spoke about Aldous Huxley.
Yes. I can do a picture.
Okay.
And describe the picture.
There's not so much on this, and so if you do it quickly, you can do a couple, but because the next one's a little bit more interesting. But I mean, you can start with this one. There's still some good garden foliage words.
So the 2 people that work on their fields, they're probably farmers.
Good.
But the one, the more bigger, with the bigger build, has not the appropriate clothing, I guess.
With the bigger land, with the bigger plot.
Yeah.
Land,
no, with the bigger frame of body, the heavier one.
The bigger farmer, okay. Okay. You can say more overweight or something like that, but
yes,
farmers is slightly more overweight.
They're both placing some seeds. They're planting seeds. They probably.
I don't think they're seeds. Actually, I'm not sure. What do you think they are?
Something like potatoes or.
Good. I think so. Yeah, I think they're potatoes. I think so.
And they take care of their lands. with their, I don't know what's the instrument called that rearranges the land.
I'm not sure actually. The one in
Yeah.
the first one is spades, shovels,
Okay.
but the second,
This.
I'm not sure about the second. I'm not sure. Right.
Yes, and eventually the potatoes grow, but the farmer on the left has considerably greater yield.
Good.
Let's say the potatoes have leaves that have grown intensively. But on the other hand, the farmer on the right, although he did put probably the same amount of work, doesn't his field doesn't have the same look.
Good. Not so many leaves. Yeah, not so many. No, it doesn't look so healthy.
And the picture predisposes us that the farmer on the left will have also will be the more successful farmer of the two. But as we move on to the last stage of the story, it seems that okay, I have a very fitting expression for the last picture. The looks can be deceiving.
Good.
I don't know if it's
Yes, it's perfect. It's perfect. Certainly, looks can be deceiving
because eventually the farmer on the right has great production.
A great
potatoes.
yield. A great yield. That word
Great,
yield is really
yes.
good. A great yield. I heard you say it earlier. A great yield. A great harvest.
A
Excellent.
great harvest. And the farmer on the left has only the part that can't be used. It's not the valuable part, the leaves and the potatoes are missing or are too small.
Good.
So I don't know. That's the moral, let's say, of the story. That looks
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's the moral. Fantastic.
Can be sometimes
deceiving. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. Looks can be deceiving. Do another one, Lefto. If you did that one very quickly,
yeah.
come on to. Oh,
Dave,
sorry.
can we call it?
Go on, Sneha.
Can we call it a rake? The one about the spade. Rake.
Not the spade. A spade is not a rake. A rake
No.
is. Oh, go on.
Yeah, the upper one. The upper one. Can we call it a
this
rake?
one. This is a rake. The one. So he was carrying a rake somewhere. Where was it? Where's his rake?
Rake.
In the next picture.
In the next picture. Where was? I don't. What, this one here?
Yeah.
Maybe. I must admit, I've never heard the word for that one. I'm not sure. A rake is usually for raking leaves, so he's got a rake there. That's a rake, certainly. It's the one you use for raking leaves. And there's a really good phrasal verb. It is a phrasal verb, to rake it in. And you mean to rake money in. If you're getting rich from some kind of endeavor or some kind of business or if you're getting rich from something, you are raking it in. And we mean, I have this picture in my mind of £50 notes all over your garden and you're raking in the money. Yeah. So when you're raking it in, you're making loads of money. And so that's another way to remember that word rake. It's a nice expression for doing very well, being very successful, making a lot of money, making good profits. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. And yeah, it's the what's he holding there, Lefteris?
He's raking the leaves.
Good.
In his very well preserved garden.
Excellent.
And he's with a couple, a middle-aged couple.
Good.
And they have a very picturesque, let's say, garden and house, house on the fields probably, with their garden, with their flowers, the nice little house, the tree with birds on it. So they're very proud of their work, and they seem to enjoy the fruits of their labor as they're having very relaxing free time, sitting and reading and
What's he sitting
knitting.
in here? What's he lying in, and what's she sitting on?
Oh yeah, it's a chair that's very comfortable.
I have one of these. I put it out when it's sunny. I have one of these. What the man's sitting in?
Hanok.
Hammock. It's
Hammock.
a hammock. This one, the one which hangs from tree to tree, and the other
Okay.
one, which you often see on the beaches in England, is we get it from it's a deck chair, and I think we call it a deck chair because they used to have them on boats, on the deck of boats. I think that's why they called it deck chair. And you do see them on the decks of boats, especially in old films or old shows. You see those kind of chairs on the decks of boats. Okay, so
They're
then
nice.
what happens?
So now that they're relaxed and they finished all their chores, some visitors, a great bunch of visitors comes up and
Come
fill the
round,
place.
come round. They come round. They come
Yeah,
round.
they
Not
come
come up.
around
They come up.
to visit the
Good.
couple. So initially the atmosphere is happy and lighthearted. Everyone enjoys the nice surroundings in the garden, but
Good.
afterwards things get worse as the visitors become a little too overly invasive, let's say, and with their kids, with their dogs, and they mess things around. They rearrange stuff.
They mess things up or they mess
Oh, yeah.
around. You can say mess around with no object. It's an intransitive verb. They're messing around. They mess things up. They mess the garden up. They mess their furniture up or their stuff.
They mess their stuff up, and after they enjoy their visit, they leave the place like a wreck.
Good.
And the owners seem very disappointed.
Good.
Yeah.
They know they have a lot to clean up. Yeah, a lot to tidy up. Hey, look, the hammock's broken. The deck chair's broken. Even the birdhouse is broken. Everything's broken. The house is broken. Okay, excellent, Lefteris. That was fantastic. We're going to go on to Snehar now because I can see Snehar next. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
we've got
yeah.
a lot of people. Okay, so Snehar, have a look at this next one. Have we done
Yeah.
this before? I don't think we have.
No,
But
we
you-
didn't do it.
Good.
Yeah,
I would say we haven't done this, by the way. We
Yeah.
haven't done this yet. And it's because we mean yet, and you're just about to do it. Yeah.
okay. I see a family going to a picnic, maybe.
Good.
And the man is smoking. And the wife is speaking to him.
Good.
And then, and they came to a tree and they see lots of bottles, littered around.
Good.
And then in the next picture, they leave the place and they went away. They go away to find another tree, maybe or a
Good.
spot. And then the man shows another tree, maybe it's a fir tree.
Good. Do you mean here? Yeah. He. Rather than show, I would say he points to. He points to.
Yeah, he points to a tree, a shrub, maybe.
Good. You can say point at, by the way, as well. I shouldn't just say point to. He points to a tree. He points at a tree. Both are good there. Both are good. At is more common with point. And I think at is a good one to remember because you aim at, you shoot at, you point at. So yeah, he points at the fir tree. I think it's fir tree.
Fir tree. And even at that spot, they find bottles and other things littered around.
Good. Another mess.
Yeah, another mess maybe. And then they find the same mess everywhere. Maybe wherever they go, wherever they went, they found the mess.
Good.
And
What do you
then-
think this tree is, though? What do you think that one was? A fir tree, sometimes called a conifer, which is where my bees decided to live, to build a house on my conifer. But what about this one? You know what this one's called? I think it's white with dark, or silver with dark.
I'm not so sure.
I'm not sure if it is this one, but I think it's a birch tree.
Birch.
Like silver birch, we sometimes say, for when they've got silver. Yeah, well, it's it looks very white or even silvery. And we call it silver birch, a silver birch tree.
Birch. So, birch. Birch is a tall trees, I guess. Are they?
Sorry?
Are the birch trees tall?
They are sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
not always, but yeah, some of them are really quite tall.
I'm not able to hear you. I'm not able to hear you.
No, you can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah,
says
yeah.
is that better?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
okay,
sorry,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's my internet connection or something, but yeah, okay.
So they run, I mean, so they move on to some other tree.
Good.
And the boy is cheerful because, yeah, and they find a nice spot and sit and enjoy their meal.
Good.
And then they walk away, but just like other people, they too left the spot in a mess.
Yes. And so what's the moral of the story?
Everyone is alike. And when it comes,
How can we call people like this? I mean, there's a word that I taught you a few lessons ago where they say one thing and they do another. Yeah, they tell everybody
Okay.
else.
hypocrites.
Hypocrites. They are hypocrites, definitely. They're like, oh, how dare people leave all this rubbish around this tree? And they do
Yeah.
it again and again and again, and then they do exactly the same. They are hypocrites for certainly. And if you want the noun for the
Hypocrite.
hypocrisy, the difficult thing about these words is that the stress does change for the noun, the adjective, and the two different nouns and the hypocritical. It changes each time. So it's hypocrites, hypocrisy, and hypocritical. And all three of those have different stresses. Yeah. Let me just show you that. So it's I'll just show you where the stress is each time. It's hypocrites, and then it's hypocrisy. So it's on the o, and then it's hypocritical. Yeah, on the I. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
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 And so it's worth remembering for the pronunciation. And again, yeah. The best way is to just use it, to say it lots and lots of times, and then it becomes easier and easier with those ones. Hypocrites, hypocritical, hypocrisy. That was fantastic, Snehal. Really, really good. Now, I see that there are a few more left, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on to, and I see Kenneth next. Kenneth McNulty. Can you hear us, Kenneth? You need to turn on.
Yeah, I can hear you. This is my first time to link in here.
Okay. So where are you, Kenneth?
I'm in Donegal, Ireland.
Okay, yeah, I can hear your Irish accent. I can.
Right.
And so, have you always lived in Donegal?
Well, I was born near Dublin in a town called Drogheda. And I moved when my father's from Ballybofey in Donegal. And we moved back. My father was working in Drogheda, and he moved back to Donegal in 1944.
Okay, okay.
48.
I think I might have been to Donegal. Is Donegal on the border with Northern Ireland?
Yeah, it's northwest. It's actually the most northerly county.
And is it? Does it have a small town called Milford in it that's on the border?
It does, yes.
Okay, yeah, I've been. That's where I couldn't understand Angela's father in Milford in Donegal.
Yeah, there was a famous bread bakery there. Milford Bakery.
Okay. It was a beautiful town. I mean, I would call it a village, but it was a beautiful place. Really, really nice.
Yeah, were you there?
Yeah, I was there. That was where, I mean, I had a girlfriend when I was at university who was from the town of Milford, and it was her father who I found difficult to understand. I would like to give you a little test. Say for me, shower.
Shower.
Okay, you say it. Okay, you say it easy. He said, sure. I remember, maybe he wasn't from Donegal originally. Maybe he was from the south of the country.
No, that if he was from Donegal, he'd say there's a wild shower. There's a wild shower.
Shower.
It's raining. It's raining very heavily.
Okay, okay. I mean, he was just asking me if I wanted to use the shower when I came down in the morning in his
Right.
house. But
Was he
I did
nice?
find the accent hard there. I really did. I found it hard. It was very different from how we speak in Essex in the UK.
Right.
And, you know, it's a good example of how native speakers, you know, will sometimes find each other difficult to understand just because of very different accents. And so, Kenneth, are you on my grammar course, I assume, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on a few of your courses.
Okay, okay. Which ones are you on?
I'm on the what is it, the advanced, is it the I'm not a regular student, so
I mean, you already speak English, yeah, Kenneth?
yeah, I'm interested. I got interested in you originally because I wanted to improve my understanding of grammar.
Okay,
I could speak English, but I had a poor grammar education, so I found your site most helpful.
Excellent. I'm really pleased to hear you say that. I really am. And I really do sympathize because I also learned no grammar at school. I learned grammar by teaching English as a foreign language. So I learned grammar when I was abroad, really. And I still remain interested in grammar. But I know what you mean, that we don't really learn any grammar in the UK. Sounds like it's the same in Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Do you speak Gaelic?
Very little, because I'm from an English speaking part of my county. There's on the west of Donegal, it is what they call a Gaelta. It's a native speaking area. But I'm from East Donegal, which is very much an English speaking, actually Ulster Scots English is very common here.
Scots English? What you mean? So English with a Scottish accent, or is that a different language?
No, Ulster Scots. It has a historic background.
Ulster Scots. Okay, I had no idea. That's another language in Ireland. Yeah, Ulster Scots. I know Ulster
it's actually lowland Scots. And it's common in the northeast of Ireland because for historic reasons.
So lots of Scottish,
there was
migrated.
A series of plantations, of ethnic cleansing and plantations over from the 16th century on. So this is the residue is that there is different cultures in this area, and Gaelic, English, and Ulster Scots are the three recognized. Ulster Scots is really a dialogue.
A dialect, yeah, a dialect of
a dialect, dialect, yeah. And,
I understand.
It's in parts of Donegal, on the east of Donegal, people would speak with a Scottish accent.
I had no idea. That's news to me. I had no idea. So you've got Gaelic, you've got Ulster Scots, and English, yeah, in Donegal.
That's right. Yeah. Well, in the north of Ireland in general, northeast of the country, Ulster Scots is a recognized language.
I'm going to check it out after this class. I will check it out, Ulster Scots. I've never heard of it before. I know Ulster and I know Scots, but yeah, I had no idea that you had another dialect there, another language that was being spoken. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so what would you like to do today, Ken? If you've got a couple of minutes, would you prefer to do a picture or to tell us a little bit about Donegal?
Yeah. Yeah, Donegal is in the northwest of Ireland. And it's a very popular tourist county. It has a wide variety of landscape, of scenery. And there's rich agricultural land, and there's very mountainous areas, and there is a multitude of beautiful beaches in Donegal.
Good.
Donegal has the longest coastline in Ireland, and I would recommend you visit there.
Yeah, I have been there. I went to Milford to see Angela, but I remember how beautiful the countryside was there. It was wonderful,
Yeah.
really impressive scenery, really impressive, and very
Right.
different from Essex, which is flat. You know, my
Yeah.
location is flat, and it's quite boring in some places. Some of it's beautiful. We have very nice I wouldn't call it sea, but the beaches are. When you get out on the water, they're beautiful. There's some lovely places to see. But I would love to come to Donegal another time. I would.
Well, you'll be very welcome. I would make you very welcome, actually.
Excellent,
because
Kenneth.
I appreciate the service that you're doing.
I really recommend to native speakers, I really recommend, or what really helped me with grammar is focusing on parallel structure. I don't know if you've got to that part in the master English punctuation and grammar or master English language.
Yeah.
Focus on the parallel structure.
Mastering English Part 2, I think, and intermediate. You have intermediate.
I do have intermediate as well.
Yeah,
The one
I'm using both of those at the moment.
The one for native speakers is the one on my website, which is called Master English Language, I think. Just quickly
Yeah,
check
well, I
that.
have that. I have.
Oh, you've got that one. That is specifically for natives. I mean, let me just check what it's called on my website, because I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yeah, Master English Language is the one specifically for natives, where you're finding out what an adjective is, what an adverb is, what a noun is, and all the different phrases and clauses, that kind of thing. But yeah, I really recommend the parallel structure part. It's so fascinating, trying to make sure that your sentence is all clean and beautiful, and that your lists, basically, your lists are always adjective, 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 or relative clause, relative clause, relative clause.
Yeah, I have dipped into that
Good.
concept.
Excellent. And you do it with literature as well in that book. So you look at it with Frankenstein, 1984, with those classic works of literature. And so I actually found it fascinating. And nowadays I listen, anytime I'm reading or listening to someone in any language, not just in English, but also I don't really listen to other languages other than English and Russian. And I see that in any language, you can apply those principles of parallel structure, and it will improve your language always.
Yeah, well, that's what made me step back into
grammar study.
Yeah, the grammar study, because it was too advanced for me at the particular time that I was looking at it.
I
So
understand it. There's nothing easy about parts of speech. They're not. In English, I think parts of speech are really hard.
So I took a step back, and I'm working my way towards that again.
Very
Grammar
nice,
is hard even for native English speakers.
very hard. Yeah, it's hard for everybody. And I think it's one of those things which is very often underrated. Here in England, I don't know what it's like in Donegal, but here in England, we do it at primary school. We show them how to identify nouns, verbs, and adjectives. And I thought my kids' school did a wonderful job. I was actually really surprised how well they'd done it, just because, in my opinion, it's really complicated to go along any sentence and say, that's an adverb, that's an adjective, that's a noun, that's a determiner. It's actually really hard. And doing it really helps. It certainly helps your understanding of how to create a sentence that's got power, that's strong, and that can have a big influence on people.
Dave, are there really people who cannot who have difficulties identifying parts of speeches? I'm speechless, really. I always thought it's like a piece of cake for native speakers.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous. No, I would say 99% of people find that extremely difficult, impossible. It's not something that they've been formally taught. And even with kids who have been formally taught, mine were, and they do it now at primary school, I'm still not convinced and completely convinced that they understand how hard the topic is that they're teaching. You know, it's actually really, really hard. It's easier in some languages. It's easier in Russian because you can tell by looking at the word if it's a noun, a verb, or an adjective, because there's so much morphology in the language, and there's very little morphology in English.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I dropped out of formal education,
Uh-huh.
you know, at intermediate level.
Uh-huh.
And in later life, I got an interest in grammar, just lifelong learning. I went back and as an adult and did exams that I had failed to do when I should have been doing them.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you
it,
enjoy it. You enjoy
it has become a hobby with me and an interest, a deep interest, and I find your site has been most helpful and most
excellent.
stimulating for me.
I'm delighted to hear that. I really am. And I'm glad that you have that so many different hobbies, as you call them. I feel the same with academic stuff. I still like doing chemistry sometimes as a hobby, certainly as a hobby. I consider my learning of a second language a bit of a hobby, really. I mean, it's useful and it's very useful for my job as well, and it's useful for communicating with my wife. But generally speaking, it's a hobby, really. It's an interest. It's something that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy doing. Yeah, and I think everybody should keep learning their whole lives because there's always more to learn. There's always interesting topics out there. So fantastic, Kenneth. Really nice to meet you today. Please come next week. We do this every Friday at 3 o'clock. So if you get a chance to join us, please do.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm just
sorry. So let's go on to
on a rapid learning curve.
I
have my designer glasses on because I just had a cataract operation.
Wow. I teach a cataract surgeon in Brazil. So you've just had a cataract removed, yeah?
Yeah, so these are just cosmetic.
Okay, I see.
Anti-glare glasses.
You look great with them or without them, Kenneth. Don't worry about it. You look great.
I can read without my glasses, or I can see your drawings without my glasses at the moment.
Okay.
Which is a new development and
yeah. I imagine it's quite painful having a cataract removed, and I'm glad to see you looking so lively and healthy.
It's not painful. It's uncomfortable, but not painful to have those procedures done.
Okay, yeah. It's I imagine you're under anesthetic, yeah, when they remove it. Yeah, good.
Local.
Good. Okay, let's move on now to, we've got two more people left. I think we've got Heimal and Stefano. Heimal, can you hear us? Heimal, I know you were here last week.
Yes,
Hello.
I do. Yeah, yes, I do. Yes.
Excellent. How are you doing, Heimal?
Yeah, I am doing good.
Excellent. You're in Sri Lanka, aren't you?
Yes, I'm from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, are you in Sri Lanka at the moment, or are you living somewhere else?
Yes, I live in Sri Lanka right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so are you going to tell us today about a story or? Go on.
Yeah, I am from. I live near Jaffna.
Near Jaffna,
in the northern part of Sri Lanka.
I see.
It's in.
And what would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to use the pictures today, or would you prefer to tell a story?
Yeah, pictures, because I do not want to torture my brain memorizing.
That's fine. Yeah, no problem. And I think it is good to do the pictures. There's always got that spontaneity there with the pictures, and as I say, spontaneous is absolutely essential with conversation. So, what do you think about this first picture?
Yeah, in this picture, I can see a man who is wearing a hat.
Good.
And the sun is scorching.
Good.
So he's sweating and he seems tired. So he walks very in a exhausted manner.
Good.
And he has find a tree to rest under, and he has lied down there. He's yawning. And after a short time, he has fallen asleep. And
After a short
on
time, he
this
falls.
tree,
Yeah,
there
not
are
he has
two.
fallen. Yeah, after a short time, he falls asleep. Not he has fallen. After a short time, he falls asleep.
Yeah, we can do little birds on this tree. One little bird comes down to the man, and the other bird also joins it, and
Good.
they are pecking on his head.
Good.
Yeah, they keep on pecking on his head, and it seems like they are building a nest on his. No, I think they are removing strings from his head, and they
Straw.
are
Straw
building
from
a
his hat.
nest.
Good. They're removing straw from his straw hat.
Straws. Yeah.
Yeah, string is a
Can't
good
we say
word.
that string?
String is when you're sewing. You sew with a needle and string. Yeah, so you use string when you are sewing. A needle and string. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, a needle and string.
Okay.
Yeah, string is for sewing,
Yeah. So
but this
yeah,
is
there's
straw.
birds. Yeah, these birds remove straw by straw from his head,
Good.
and they build a nest at the top of this tree.
Good.
So yeah, in this picture we can see that they have almost dismantled his head, and now they have built a very comfortable nest over there, and the man wakes up from his sleep, and he touches his head, and he feels that the hat is not there. So he is surprised that what has happened to his head, and he looks uh, here and there, and he notices that these two birds have created a nest out of uh, the straws of his head, and he looks rather upset, and he takes this nest and puts it on his head, and
Yeah,
he
he takes
goes
their
away.
nest. Good. Yeah, takes their nest, puts it on his head, and walks away. Very good. That was excellent. I don't think that's a very easy picture either. You did quite a short one, so you can do the next one again, and it's called The Hammock. Yeah, what's happening here? But be quite fast
Yeah,
because I've
we
got two more
yes,
people waiting. I can see there's Dylan and Stefano.
yeah,
And we'll
okay, okay. Yeah, we can see a burly person
good, a burly
tying
person.
up a hammock.
Good.
Sorry.
Yeah, good. A burly person, a burly guy. Good. Burly works. Certainly, you could say
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got.
He's tying up a hammock to rest on, and now he has done. He is going to uh, lie on it. He's quite heavy, and this hammock is almost uh, curved down, and he feels uncomfortable, and he thinks he should tie it with little more stretched and tensed.
I would say
So
tighter. He needs to tie it tighter, tighter. Yeah, tight or loose. Yeah, they're opposite adjectives.
yeah,
If clothes are tight, they stick to your skin. But if they're loose, you've got lots of space to breathe. But yeah, he wants to tie it tighter to the trees. Very good,
yeah,
because
here,
it's
here
always
he
touching the ground.
here he ties it much tighter, and now it is rather little up
It's too
over
tight.
there. So
Yeah, it's too tight.
now yes, too tight, and it is little difficult for him to reach
Good.
the hammock, and he with effort he tries to climb onto it, and it's like he loses his balance, and it's too tight, and I think the tension is too high. It cannot takes his weight, and one end
It cannot take its weight. Good.
breaks up. One end breaks up and
One end
he
breaks, one end snaps. Is a
falls.
good word here. Yeah, one end breaks or
Snaps,
one end
yeah.
snaps. We often say snap for a wire or a rope or something like that. Wire or rope or string can snap, and yeah, the hammock snaps.
Yeah, the hammer snaps, hammocks, the hammock snaps, and he falls down, and he has hurt his buttocks.
Buttocks, good.
And
Yeah, he's
he's
hurt his behind. He's hurt his buttocks.
is soothing them, and now this time he thinks he has the less tighter. He has again tight, and this time he's because last time it was very difficult for him to climb it, and this time he's going to climb the tree and jump onto it from a branch. So he jumps onto it from a branch, and seems it's okay for a moment, but then suddenly it broke.
Yeah, again, I would
Breaks
probably.
and he falls down.
You could say, I mean, if it's clothes, you could certainly say it rips, it tears. Yeah, we could certainly say that as well. It rips, it tears. Snap, I would say, for the one piece of cord, which is right there on the hammock. I would say snap for when it's one piece of cord or wire or string or rope. But there, where it's material, I would say it rips, it tears, and he falls to the floor. He falls down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
it possible to say to
yeah.
fall through?
Yeah, he
through.
falls through the hammock is great. He falls through the hammock. Certainly that works. He falls through
Yeah,
the hammock.
Yeah, his ribs, and he falls through, and last time it was just his buttocks, but this time he has badly hurt his all the spinal cord, it
Yeah,
seems.
he may never walk again. Yeah, very good. Superb, hey Mal,
Yes.
really good. Let's now go on to Dilan, because I saw that Dilan is here as well. Is Dilan there? Yeah, hello Dilan.
Sorry, I joined the lesson for the last time, half of the lesson.
Okay.
It's good to see you, but I just want to say, can we describe the man as a persevering?
Certainly he is. He's a persevering man, definitely.
Because he tries to enjoy the hammock, but
Yeah,
he's
you could
not
go.
on his lucky day, I think.
Yeah, indeed. He really perseveres with the hammock. And I think that this is very true, because I have a hammock. I never sit in it. It's a nightmare. But my son loves it, and my wife loves it. They're both often in the hammock. But I think it's silly, or it's not the most comfortable way to sit in the garden, in my opinion.
Yes,
So
or
I understand his pain.
good to lie on the hammock and enjoy the breeze during the springtime. I loved when I was child, but nowadays I haven't used any hammock.
Do you not have a garden now? Do you have a garden?
No, I live in a city center in
I
a
understand. Yeah.
rental flat, so I don't have the opportunity.
No, indeed. Hammocks are for when you have a garden, aren't they? They're outdoor kind of things. Okay. Do you want to do the next picture for us, Dilan?
Okay. I think there is a family. There's a man who looks like a father of the family, and a woman, a mom, and a toddler. They are looking in a picture, maybe seaside, and quite looks good because there's a tree, sun, and maybe sea or field, I don't know, and they want to go outside.
Good.
And they start using their bicycles. They cycling and enjoy the view, enjoy the sea with their toddler. And I think it's a maybe a photo. I'm not sure, but because they found the similar place to rest and enjoy.
Good.
And then there are flies.
Are they just flies or something else?
maybe I'm not sure. There are insects. They
You can see on their last face
maybe
there.
bee. I'm not sure.
Maybe
But-
bees. Yeah, maybe bees. Maybe it was like
And-
that here, definitely.
and their days
There's a good word
getting
here to remember
worse.
as well.
and
Maybe a swarm of bees, and I want you to remember this: a swarm of, because it works with any flying insects. And so they might not be bees, but I think you know this word. What are the ones which come and not
mosquitoes.
good? A swarm of bees, but maybe a swarm of mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Good.
And they get bitten.
Good.
And they don't like the place because of the mosquitoes' sudden attack, and they are running away. They are coming back their home. Yes,
Coming back
they
home.
love.
Yeah, it's coming back home. They are coming back home.
They coming back home. They like the scenery, but they don't like the natural life, I think. And they swell with the bites.
Good.
And
Their faces are swollen with bites.
their
Good.
bodies and their, I think, toddlers' legs also get bitten.
Good. Yeah.
And their arms, and it must be itchy.
Good, very good. Yeah, it must be very itchy. I agree. It must be very itchy.
I got bitten last week, and
You got bitten.
Yes, at home. I don't know which kind of insect attacked me during the night, middle of the night, and I start itching, and I couldn't find the insect, but I have a bitten area on my leg, and it's very unpleasant.
I would just say I have a bite on my leg. I have a bite on my
I
leg,
have
and
the
it's
bites. I think maybe 11.
okay. Yeah, exactly. That's better then. Yeah, I have bites on my leg. So yeah, they certainly did some damage. Have you used any medication, any medicine to make
Yes,
the swelling go down?
I use antihistaminic gel to relieve the itchiness and the pain, but I already had scars because I couldn't stop itching and stretching the part of my body who got bitten.
Yeah, it's not. You have to scratch it. If it's itchy, then you have to scratch it, and of course, yeah, it's not very comfortable, not very pleasant.
During the springs and summer, it's a problem in our country, and I don't
Absolutely.
use the prescriptions like spray to
The cream or the spray, yeah, the cream or
prevent
spray.
the bite, because I don't like use that kind of
I know what
medication.
you mean. Yeah, I don't like putting on sunblock or sun cream for the same reason. I don't like putting lots of chemicals on my skin, if I'm honest. I
But
think
you
it's-
should,
Sorry?
because you should use sunscreen, because it's the most important damage cause for your skin.
I think
Sun-
you're in Turkey, Dilan. You're in Turkey. I'm in the UK, and
You don't-
we don't have the same sun. We have it's nothing here. It's 18 degrees today.
Oh, we passed the 30s and we welcome the hot summer.
That's it.
day.
I think if I lived in Turkey, I would probably act differently, behave differently. I would probably put the sun cream on every day. But yeah, I've never liked it. I've never liked putting cream on, being honest.
But you should prevent from blue screen lights from your computer, because you give lessons and use computer more than us.
I do, yeah. I've got the
And
screen
the blue
staring at me. I
screen
do.
lights
glaring.
also have caused the damage on your skin. So I recommend you, because my sister is dermatologist, and she always asks us, "Did you apply your sunscreen? Why you?"
Okay. I know my wife does, and she does with the kids. She makes sure that they put it on, but I always think, no, thank you.
And
But
it
brilliant.
prevents your from aging, because
Uh-huh.
the damage caused the aging rapidly.
I think it's too late for me. I'm already old, and I've never worried too
No,
much
you are
about
not
aging.
old. We have a young fellow here, and he looks younger than you, because maybe he give importance for his appearance, and I want to add his glasses very cool.
His glass, his
Very cool, the color and the shape.
oh,
I want
his glasses, yeah.
no, the new
The
we
other
welcome,
guy. The other guy.
yes, we welcome a new company, and I like his glasses. I want to add the comment.
You like his glasses, yeah? Oh, you mean one of the guys here, yeah?
Yes,
Oh,
we
you
are.
mean Kenneth McNulty, don't you?
mean
Kenneth
Kenneth,
McNulty.
yes.
Sorry, Kenneth.
Sorry, I jumped different topics at the same time.
What?
You
Yeah, no, that's okay. She
catch?
likes your glasses, Kenneth. She likes them.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone back on and he's whispering, but it's on mute.
Sorry, I cannot understand.
Sorry, Kenneth, you're on mute. We got gone. Go on.
I'm 79 years young.
There we
So
go.
thank you for the compliment.
Congratulations.
That's it. Congratulations.
But you looks younger than your age, because I know I am a doctor and I can guess to age.
So
But
I'm
you
going to have to ask. I'm going to have to
you
ask
look
Kenneth.
very vivid, and you like. I think you like enjoy your life, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy to
have a
see you.
I have a positive attitude.
Yeah,
And,
indeed, that makes a difference. Do you use sunblock? I've got to ask you, Kenneth. Do you use sunblock?
No,
No?
not in Ireland, between the showers.
There's just no need for sunblock in Ireland.
Okay,
re-
you are the
well,
lucky ones. I have
There is,
to.
there is, but I am very careful because I have to be careful with the sun.
I understand. Yeah, you don't want to burn your head. Certainly not.
I wear a wide brimmed hat,
Straw hat?
not straw.
No. Bowler hat. But a nice hat, yeah, to protect yourself from the
Or
sun.
a cap.
Oh, okay. No, very nice.
No, no, I wear, when I'm going out in the sun, I would wear a broad brimmed hat.
Like in Mexico, or yeah.
Not quite as
Sombrero.
Sombrero, thank you.
A
Stefano.
sombrero.
I couldn't think of the
Sombrero.
word. I didn't know the word. I thought, what is it? Those big ones in Mexico? I've got no idea. Stefano helped me. It's your turn now, Stefano. I don't know if you want to do the picture or if you want
Yes,
to do...
it's Dave. First of all, I have to say that listening to two British native, it's really great. It's really
Yeah, I thought you would
amazing.
like that. I thought you would like that. And that's why, it's
And,
interesting to hear her speaking. And of
yes,
course, with
and
such different accents.
and it's also great and relieving for me as a second language learner to hear that sometimes also Brits don't understand each other, and this is it's relieving, really relieving, because for example, when I watch a lot of TV series and movies in English, and I found sometimes that for example, I'm watching The Bold and the Beautiful. You know, the TV series. It's not really a high quality one, no, but it's really great to learn English because there is no action and only dialogues. So it's great.
Yeah, I
But
agree. Perfect.
for example, if I can follow it, I have to say easily. I'm not in difficulty to follow it, but I found it much more difficult to follow something like CSI or NCIS. I found very difficult to follow them, to follow the dialogues in that kind of crime scene series TV. I find really difficult, and I saw in some forum, I read in some forum that also some British people found it difficult. So
there's a show called True Detective that was very popular. It started with I don't know the actors' names. Matthew. You all know these guys anyway. They're really famous actors. I don't know. Do you know True Detective? Do you know this TV show?
No, I don't know.
Okay, well,
I need to check it out.
I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the Grammar Shed. It is a good show, but it's not what I would recommend anybody learns English with, simply because I don't understand what they're saying. They live in it is set in Mississippi or Louisiana, but it's in the deep South. And usually I have no problems at all understanding people in the deep south when they have a moderate neutral accent, no problem. But in this show, the accents are so thick so many times. You know, when I wrote a few exercises for this TV show, and I just couldn't understand it in certain parts. I just had to forget about it in certain parts. And even I could see that even the subtitles, which were automatically generated, they had no idea what these guys were saying. And so they just used a lot of slang from that area. And yeah, even though it was native English, I had no idea what they were saying for about 20%.
So relieving for us.
Yeah, oh, it's all the
Yes,
time.
I agree with you.
It's all the time because there are so many different accents with English. You know, it's why it's important for me to have a kind of, or why it's useful to have a kind of neutral accent. But please don't think that everybody speaks like me. Very few people do, very few.
And then I wanted to point out that if I were to teach Italian grammar to a second language learner, it's so difficult, so difficult. When you were talking about part of speech. If I had to teach you part of speech in Italian, we would get crazy completely.
I can imagine. It's tricky. You know, what you never told us was that there are some words that don't fit into any of those categories. Yeah, let's start with that.
Now, you know, there is the famous linguist Chomsky, who says that, you know, he is the most important linguist of the world as of now, but in the history of linguistics. And he says that we only know some fragments of grammar. We only know some fragments of grammar. So this is...
I don't think Dave knows only fragments about grammar.
Yeah, it's only possible to know fragments. It's not complete grammar. It's never complete. You're always learning more because there are always exceptions to every new rule that you find. There will be many exceptions.
Yes.
But I think you are an expertise in this field, English grammar.
An expert. Expertise is good, but it's a thing. It's a thing, not a person.
A noun.
Yeah, they're both nouns. Expert is a noun, and expertise is a noun. But one is the person.
That's why I follow only.
It's a thing that a person does. Yeah.
Yeah, or has, I would say, because you either have expertise or you don't have expertise. But yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, and yeah, I enjoy it. If I'm honest, I do like to try to, you know, I worked with a number of native speakers, but teachers who were English teachers, and we did parts of speech for ages, and that showed me, firstly, how difficult people find this topic, and secondly, how there's not, you know, you're putting them into different groups, but sometimes
you know what I found it really difficult is when there is a sentence within a sentence, a clause within a clause, within another clause.
I have whole paragraph with a sentence.
This is so I found it very difficult to analyze, to parse the sentence in this way, no, because it's like a matryoshka, no.
Yeah, like a matryoshka. Absolutely.
Yes, and so
I know what you mean. There's that really good one from Foucault, and even though I don't like him as a person, he did do a really good sentence where it's
breaks and sand. Yeah, building materials. I mean, building materials.
Yeah.
All the constituent parts of grammar. Now, parts of speech. And syntax, sentence. We start learning a language by learning what parts of speech are first, and then we take a close look at nouns, adjectives, and usually one by one.
I think
we master them, and then we learn how to put these words together to make sentences. And this is, I think, the most important, the final or the main idea of learning a language is to make your own sentences, because this is your message, what you want to tell, to say to a person you have a conversation to.
a conversation
Uh,
with, yeah, to say to a person you have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
exactly.
and I think usually foreign learners of English, they learn the parts of speech at the same time as they learn the language. And I think that they're very often learning it in their own language as well. You know, because of
Mhm.
course people don't always think as they say a sentence, oh, that's a verb, that's an adjective, that's a noun. I do nowadays. Just
They take the language as it is. Really, they
learn it
use
in
it by
large chunks.
they use it by default.
I would say they already learn the sentences as full sentences and not as individual words, and that way the grammar becomes automatic and you don't even
Like
think
a
about.
chunk?
Yeah, in larger chunks. Learn languages. I think it's the quickest way as chunks. As you know, I think it's a waste of time learning reporting verbs without the prepositions that come after them, or without the gerund or the 2+ infinitive that come after them. Because if you just know refuse, you don't know it's refuse to do. Yeah, and if you just know regret, you don't know it's regret doing. If you just know accuse, you don't know it's accuse somebody of doing, or suspect somebody of doing. We had these recently. But you need to learn it like that. Learn the whole part of the verb, you know, including what comes later, and that makes it easier. And in other languages, you're maybe learning the cases and things like that when you learn the larger chunks. I know you have cases in Turkish as well, yeah, dative, genitive, that kind of thing. And so to learn that, you've got to learn it in chunks. You can't learn it.
There are either 14 or 15 cases in Finnish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good luck, Mikita. Good luck. I hope you enjoy
Thank
those
you.
14 and 15 cases. Do they have masculine, feminine, and neuter as well? Do they have gender? Okay, I think he's disappeared. Okay, back to Stefano. He's gone.
Yes.
He's vanished. So do you want to do a
Yes.
picture today, Stefano? We've got
Yes,
these lovely,
yes, no
sexy
problem.
ladies for you today.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so what can you see?
Okay, there is a girl. Maybe she wants to buy some summer clothes. She's doing shopping, window shopping. I should say no, but then she entered the shop, and she start to try on some clothes. In this picture, she is just looking at some clothes as of now, in this moment, and then she is looking at a hat. She try on some glasses, and then
she tries on some glasses. Don't forget, yes.
she tries on some glasses, sunglasses, and then she get an umbrella. Maybe she is really determined to go to the seaside, because this is costume, hat, glasses, umbrella. So maybe she will get also the cream.
I think it's a parasol. Just if you're wondering, we do say parasol for if it's in the sunshine.
Parasol. Okay, parasole. And then she get also I don't know how to say it in English. This not
Swim
to be
cap?
wet in his head.
How should I put it?
Swimming. How should I put it? Swimming cap, swimming hat. I think cap is the best one here. Swimming cap.
Okay, and she try also a swimming cap. And then she tries also a swimming cap, and then other accessories for the seaside, and in the end there is the moral of the story, that she was preparing everything in a great way, and then she found a rainy day.
I would say the moral of the story.
She also live in Northern Ireland.
Yes, possibly Donegal there on the beach, one of the beautiful beaches of Donegal. Excellent. I would even say the moral of the story is you can't prepare too much. Yeah, you can't over prepare. Or sometimes when you prepare, you know, life surprises you.
Great.
You can be prepared for your exam, but you cannot be prepared for life.
Even exams, Mikita, even exams can surprise you. In fact, I remember a few surprising me when I was 18 and I was doing exams. You prepare for them, but then they ask you the wrong questions, not the ones you prepared for. I think exams are tricky like that. You know, I would always say that you kind of have to be a bit lucky.
But this is, but I think that this is the best part of going to have an exam, to take an exam, because if you go to take an exam and you know everything, you don't enjoy. The best part is when they don't ask the question that you don't know.
Yeah, is that the
This
best
is the
part?
best.
Yeah, when
And because
you get
you need some thrill. You need some thrill, or else
you need to,
that's,
you need to life needs to be exciting. Yeah, it needs to be interesting. You want to be surprised sometimes, and it's nice when there's a
true.
surprise.
Uh, 2 days
on.
ago, I went to theater and saw the play, and there is a sentence in the play. It is life. I try to
Please.
translate in Turkish. I'm not sure. Life is a play without rehearsal. And
Good.
it's
Exactly.
Beautiful,
It's
beautiful,
beautiful. Yeah, it's
beautiful
absolutely
sentence.
right. Absolutely right. You know, you
It's-
don't actually get it's the same with all parts of life as well, that you're expected to already know what to do. And actually it's all there, there's no rehearsal. You're already on, it's act one, scene one, and you've just got the whole audience in front of you, and you've gotta perform. And so I think that's a lovely phrase. Say it again. I didn't catch it how you put it. Say it again. Life is always without a rehearsal.
life is. I
Say it.
translate. I'm not sure the correct the
No,
word.
that's okay.
Life is a play without rehearsal.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll remember that. Look, I will this time. Life is a play without a rehearsal. That's nice. That's really nice. And of course, we can all see the wisdom in that, certainly.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic, guys. I'm going to stop here for today, but I will see you all next week, 3 o'clock, at the same time, same place. I'll put the Zoom link
Okay.
up as always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, teacher.
My pleasure.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure always, guys.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, thank you.
Have a lovely
Thank you.
rest of your
Thanks
day.
for coming, guys. Thanks for coming. I'll see you all
Until
next
next
week.
Friday.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Until the next one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. See
Bye-bye.
you next
Bye-bye.
Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.